has to give, to the universe. Big ups to my sister Aphrodite Stone.
Greetings, 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 my people, on this beloved Sunday. May you all be blessed with the love, prosperity, abundant living in a way of life, and understanding and knowing knowledge and truth. Okay. Today, in my studies, I was writing and, came up in my spirit because I wanted to find out some of my male encounters, as far as my sons, as far as my brothers, my uncles, and grandfather and father, and the ancestors that came before me in a male form. And so this is what came up. Eshu came up today in my spiritual data, and writing different things, and doing my research about Eshu, you know, um, and everything that kept coming up was that he was a divine messenger, a gatekeeper. Um, but he was, misrepresented. And also, he was misrepresented as the devil, and I think, like everybody says, he was a trickster, played, mind games, and just like a puppet, on a string or whatever. That kitty, if you have, some male encounters, and, they well up in their ages, and, they like to play games, they tricksters, you know. And I believe that that's just like the male perspective of not coming into their rights and in their truths. They say women, we, are more mature than males are. So, and in my findings or whatever, and also I'm coming into my understanding about the different orishas and deities, if you will. And it came about before me because I'm trying to tap into my ancestors. I've always had my ancestors with me, and they have been following me everywhere I've been in all my surroundings. I can't see them any longer physically. I don't hear them audibly, but they show me signs that they're here and they're near, and what they give me is the smell, these smells that I get. And it's a one distinguished smell, and it's that death smell. If you ever um, buried anyone, or, found somebody dead, not the type of stench that their bodies have been sitting up for, hours or days, or, what I'm saying, weeks at a time. And that, not that type of stench, rigor mortis and setting into them, and all that type of stuff. It's just right before their body descends, and they have a certain type of odor that they leave. And I've experienced this with my mother, that stench, when she passed away, and how I had to clean her house, and how that smell was in her house. And then my grandfather, which actually died in my house, I found him dead, and um, I remember, how I found him, and I was just like, wow, it was, I can't not unsee it. when I walked into my house, from coming home from work. And what I used to always do is, I holler because out of downstairs and you had to go upstairs or whatever. And I would stick the key in the door and I would holler out his name. And he scared me, one time before because he didn't answer, but he was just asleep. This particular time, when I came in there and I found him, how he was, his TV was right in front of his entertainment center. And I used to always get on him and be like, Granddad, why you just don't use your remote? But he like pushing them buttons or whatever. So he would have to sit up to push the buttons, on a TV that was right in front of him. And he like doing that. And so when I found him, his head was stuck in a kneeling position in front of the entertainment center in the bed. And it was like, wow, and he wasn't moving. He wasn't nothing. I remember touching his body and it was just stiff. So, I ran, in the back room where my cousin was with my two boys. And I told her, I said, Granddaddy is dead. And she woke up and, went in there and, I was asking her, about the chain of events that happened, because my grandfather was part of, she used to watch my kids. And so in doing that, my grandfather, you would have to watch my grandfather too. He liked the stove on. You would have to cut that stove on and then go check on him periodically, And she said that she had, he asked her to turn on the stove about 3 something that morning. And she went back and got in the bed with my sons or whatever. And that's the last that she had seen. And so because my grandfather was a big man, I couldn't move his body. So on this house that I stayed in, it was the side by side. So the people, Jeremiah and his girlfriend or whatever, he used to love my grandfather. They used to hang out and drink and, always giving you wisdom. My grandfather, everybody, don't let him get you in a hucklebutt because Heidi, you get him some drink or whatever, you gonna be there for a while because he had a lot of wisdom and a lot of stories to tell, and everybody respected that and wanted to hear. So I told him, I said, Granddaddy, Granddaddy gone, and he like, no, not Papa, and he, ran upstairs. I said I can't move his body. He had came up there with him, and I remember him, me and him moving his body, onto the side, and I had to call the paramedics, of course, before then. But, when we moved his body, he bled through his mouth. So it was a stain when my mind just went blank. When the coroners came and got his body or whatever, it was a blood stain on my carpet. And I remember my auntie, she came over there, and tried to get it up with some lemon juice. Because one thing about blood, it's hard for you to get it up. But anyway, that stench, and it stayed in my house for a long period of time, but I embraced that stench because it has followed me every house, and I done moved twice since that house. It done followed me everywhere I go. It's the same stench. Him and my mother. Oh my God! When I know they come, and their presence is, and they want their presence to be known. Oh, they come to me in smells. So I know, and I sometimes, I'd be like, which one of y'all here? And it might be both of them. I can't distinguish the different smells from either or, my mother and my grandfather. I just say they come in twos, and they normally come together, or they might have my grandmother with them. You know what I'm saying? So whoever they bring it, they watch over me. They have been covering me. They have been my safety. You know, like we're still here. They just not here physically. You know. So and coming in, and I said, so trying to get in tune with my ancestors and parts and the places and where we come from, and from the information that I have been given since I was a child, about the little information that I do have, as far as my grandfather and his father, and my grandfather's father, which was a voodoo witch doctor in Haiti. And from the stories that I've been told, that they ran him out of there because he was practicing medicine and so on and so forth. But I'd always knew that we had these, spirits, because mostly everybody in my family, we have that third eye. We see things, we experience things in the spiritual world, and we also know how to do things and move about. And so Eshu came to mind, and even with my own son, seeing his ways is a little bit, about this, and also in working with your deities and your bloodlines that are for you. Now they all ain't for us, okay? So you got to be very, very careful when working with these, ancestors, orishas, the deities, the spirits, and so on and so forth. We got to be real careful, and you have to, you know, um, build a relationship with them in order for them to work for you and with you. Because if you don't, you can be entering into a dangerous situation. As they say, uh, don't open up Pandora's box. Yeah, well, that part, that way. Um, but as I was saying, issue is also, it's spelled, Eschu, also called Elegba, trickster god, from the Yoruba of Nigeria. It's essentially protective, beloved spirit who serves, if Eshu, but when you come to him, you better give him some respect. Okay. And that's just like, my grandfather and his father, they were always respected. And you better act like, and some of my uncles and my, brothers and my sons, when dealing with them, you better give them some respect. You just don't get a chance to do and say anything to their people or to themselves, and think you ain't gonna be dealt with. But it's just, it's a lot of things that we have to tap into, and we got to pay homage as if they were still here, still giving them respect. Like, I know that when my mother and my grandfather and them come, we like to get our drink on and have a good time and cook, and so you got to bring gifts, whatever they like to do or whatever. Set up your altar, what all of the things that remind you of them, or pictures of them, or when you come to that altar and you're dealing with them, you know um give them thanks, because that's where stirring up. If you're coming into your awakening, into your consciousness, into your spirituality, you have got to know, you know how to pay homage to them. It's just that simple. There's no other way around it, you know. And wow, this thing is just so deep. This is part one. I'm gonna go into it some more, but I'm dealing with, a lot of the orishas and that's coming up to me. Ushun is one of my favorites. Yimi Ya, Ya, um, is coming up now because I'm trying to find out my roots and how it is the way I am and my people and why they are and why we are the way we are on this day. Okay. So you have been plugged into Travius Creations, the godmother of three, on a Sunday. I want you all to be blessed in oneness, truth, and in love, spirituality, peace.